people that have imposter syndrome are never the ones that are actually unqualified. What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel, Paradoxical Joy. I'm your girl Joy, and I usually do adulting, lifestyle, and business content. In today's video, we're going to be talking about how to deal with imposter syndrome. Okay, so real quick, I'm going to go ahead and pull up this definition that I have here on my iPad of what imposter syndrome is. So imposter syndrome is a psychological pattern in which one doubts one's accomplishments and has a persistent internalized fear of being exposed as a fraud. Okay, so I know, you might have heard this word, but you might not be like, what does it exactly mean? So that was why I gave the definition of just basically you feel like you're a fraud. You feel like you doubt yourself, you doubt what you're doing. And this usually shows up in the job force, and it usually shows up in, younger folks, like people around my age, like Gen Z, millennial, that are maybe just starting in the workforce or changing careers, and you feel like, I don't deserve to be here, I'm not qualified to be here. So for me, I'll go ahead and give some of my personal experience with imposter syndrome. I was really feeling it heavily when I started my first job. My first big girl job after college, because for most of college, I was preparing to be a lawyer, and I actually realized like second half of junior year that I wanted to actually go into public relations, marketing, those types of things, and I wasn't going to change my major because I was going to be there too long. So I ended up keeping my major, but I ended up minoring in strategic communications, which is basically my school's way of doing public relations. But I felt unqualified because the position I had gotten was in social media, and I felt very much imposter syndrome because I was like, I didn't even join all these organizations, I didn't even do all these things because I had mostly spent most of my time preparing for law, and I felt like I didn't have what other people may have had, or I felt like they were gonna expose me and be like, you don't know anything, you're a fraud. And I just really was like on edge about a lot of things, and I felt like I had to be perfect all the time, and any question that they asked me I had to know it, and that was just a whole thing within itself, and I can go more in depth about that first job experience if you guys would like, so comment down below and let me know if you want to see that video. But for me, it was very difficult, and so I came up with but I ended up obviously dealing with it, and so I wanted to kind of give you guys some advice and some tips on how you can deal with it. And the reason why I'm looking down is so that I can see my notes, so I can remember what I'm supposed to be saying, so I don't feel like a fraud, okay? So I would say my first tip would be to identify it, and identify imposter syndrome, just what it is in general, which is why I gave the definition, and then also identify when it shows up. So like, you might be feeling imposter syndrome all the time while you're at work, or you might be feeling it like just at a specific section. Maybe like your boss asks you, maybe you work in social media or marketing as well, and your boss, Lord have mercy, your boss is like, I need you to go and post this on social media. Maybe you're not familiar with social media the way that you would like, or maybe you're not familiar with Facebook or whatever it is, and that's when you feel like a fraud because you're like, who am I to be running the Facebook account because I don't even use Facebook, like those things like that. So I would say identify it and know when it shows up, because that will give you clarity on, maybe there's a specific area that is giving you imposter syndrome, as opposed to maybe the whole experience. Because if it's the whole experience, then that requires a different evaluation and a different process than if it is just one part of the experience. So number two, I would say look at the facts, okay? So I know for me, what helped me, if you are spiritual or Christian or whatever, what helped me was realizing that I was exactly where God wanted me to be. Like, you can always just trust in a more spiritual sense, in terms of I am exactly where I'm supposed to be. This is like, if this wasn't for me, I wouldn't be happening, like all of those things. And then you can also just really look at the facts. So the facts will tell you, you can say, I might not be as qualified as I think I should be, or I might not have X, Y, and Z, but I do have this. And I know for me, what helps looking at the facts is when I felt imposter syndrome in that job. I had to speak life over myself, because I had to be like, you know what, Joy, actually you did social media all throughout college, you took these classes, you did this internship in social media, you and then I was also doing events as well. I'd be like, you did events in high school, you were president of this, you did this, you organized this, you did all these things, so like this is nothing new to you, you've already done this. And I literally had to just speak life over myself, because I was allowing fear and doubt to cripple me from being successful. And you just have to just look at the facts. Literally just look at what it is. And also, they're not gonna hire you, like a job is not gonna hire you for a job they don't think that you can do. Like that's just not, like if they think that you're unqualified, they're not gonna hire you. Now again, imposter syndrome, a big part of it is that you think that you're a fraud and you just haven't been exposed yet. But most likely people that are hiring some of the time know what they're doing. So you have to trust the process, and trust yourself. I will also give another tip and say that people that have imposter syndrome are never the ones that are actually unqualified, because I have seen the most unqualified people that are in certain positions. They have no business being anywhere near it, and they be walking around and they're like, they run the place like they know everything, like they're an expert. And then there's someone who is actually knowledgeable or willing to learn that is like meek and kind of in the corner, because they are feeling like, I have no right to be this forthright or to be bold or to be self-assured, and that is not the case at all. And number 3, this is the third tip that I will give, is to embrace it, right? And if you're feeling imposter syndrome, you're feeling doubt, you're feeling fear, just embrace it. And what I mean by that is everyone has doubts. No matter how qualified you are or you're not, everyone has doubts about the fields and the work and the projects that they're doing. Everyone has had doubts before. So don't let those doubts consume you. Embrace the life, embrace the fact that you're in this position, embrace the skills that you have. And if you feel like you don't have them, gain them, right? Like if you're trying to be a doctor or you're a surgeon, obviously when you cut someone open, that's not the time to be like, okay, so what happens now? Or if you're a lawyer and you're in the middle of court trying to defend somebody, and the judge is like, or whoever is like, objection, and you're like, okay, so what? How do I respond to that? Like, that's not the time. Those are not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about maybe you're someone that you spent most of your career working in nonprofit, and now you want to switch over to for-profit business, but you're nervous because you think that these two fields are different. At the end of the day, you are running some sort of a business, so there's going to be some similarities, there's going to be some skills that you learned, or maybe if you didn't, then there's ways to always brush up on it. And I can always give a whole video about maybe if you don't have certain skills that you would like to have, how to go about gaining those skills. But you can always brush up on your skills. You can always learn more about so many different fields that most people are in. Now, being a doctor or a lawyer is not something that you just go Google, but maybe if you are not familiar with Facebook and you're a social media manager, you can go and you can look that up. You can be like, okay, these are the best ways to handle Facebook. And a lot of things that people don't tell you are trial and error. Like, you're gonna try different ways to do one thing, and you just have to have the boldness to do it, and you also have to trust yourself. Don't give in to the doubt. Don't give in to the fear. You got this. You know what you're doing. You applied for this position in the first place. And literally, you guys, fear and doubt and this whole entire syndrome will literally hold you back. And I'll just give you guys one more example before I close up. So basically, when I was applying for my second job, which is the job that I have now that I absolutely love, I was feeling imposter syndrome again, even though I had just worked at my previous job, and I was like, okay, social media, got it, like I killed it. I was feeling imposter syndrome, and I was like, I have no business applying for this one marketing position that was asking for more experience than I thought that I had. And so I applied for a lesser position. I literally applied for it. I didn't apply for the other one at all. And then my job happened to have an open house type interview set up. So it was like the night before, and I was literally like, I'm not qualified for this position. I would love to get that position, but I'm not qualified. And I literally last minute was like, no, I'm gonna apply. And I literally just kind of was like, okay, here's a social media calendar, here's things for events, here's all of this. And I got all this like stuff that I printed out at Staples, got it together, put it in a nice folder. And at the interview, I was like, this is what I can do. bam, 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 bam. And they basically were like, okay, so when can you start, girl? Like, and I was literally like, I was going to let imposter syndrome, fear, doubt stop me from this amazing opportunity that I really wanted and that I'm actually perfect for. I love my job. It's like the perfect amount of me being qualified for it and me being able to have a chance to learn. And also something that doesn't help, or something that does help, is that I'm getting paid $12,000 more than I would have if I had settled for the other job. So sometimes you just gotta speak life, confidence over yourself, look at the facts, embrace your abilities, embrace what you can do, and just focus on the positive and let the negative just go out the window. And as long as you're hardworking, you're focused, you'll be just fine. You're gonna thrive. And don't let doubt come in. Don't let it take over at all. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really had a lot of fun doing this video and kind of recapping over some imposter syndrome. Let me know if you guys have any other questions or you'd like to see more videos like this, kind of dealing with some type of psychological things that we go through being in business, being bosses in our fields, or trying to be. Let me know, comment down below. Also, go ahead and check in the description box below if you'd like to check out some other videos I think you guys would like. And also check out the description box for some blog posts if you would like to read those as well. And to follow me on social media at Paradoxical Joy. Check out my website, paradoxicaljoy.com. All the links for everything is down in the description box below. And I just want everyone to remember, speak life over everything, okay? Just speak life over everything that you touch. Embrace your abilities. You got it, okay? We're gonna kill it, period. Alrighty, so I will see you guys in the next video. Bye!